Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to show you how to recover from a bounced landing. Now this feels wrong in so many ways, but this is all going to be for science. So we're sitting here at lovely Nantucket. We have a Cessna 170 in case you're curious. This is a really cool plane. I really enjoy flying this thing around in VR because it's small and cozy, and like you look at the electronics, and I love the fact you have to pull the handles out in order to like engage stuff. It just feels very primordial is the word I want to use. Primeval is a pretty good word too, but we're going to call it primordial here. So anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to recover from a bounce. So in order to show you how to do that, we have to intentionally create a bounce. It feels so wrong to do this to the plane I'm about to do here. But the big reason people bounce is usually because they carry too much speed into the landing, and then they try to force the plane down on the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate recovering from the bounce the wrong way, and then we'll go ahead and do it the right way. So you can see here is I'm definitely going hot. The reason we're hot, of course, is we can see that our nose is actually tipped down. We're doing about 75 knots. That's actually miles an hour, my bad. And we're not looking so good here. So what I'm going to do is intentionally bounce. I'm going to keep my nose like this. And we're just going to come right onto the ground here. Oh! Oh, no, I want to go down. Oh! 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 Whoa! Oh! I don't know. Oh! I don't know how I actually survived that. Whoa! So that is a great example of bouncing. And I'm not going to lie, bouncing in flight sim doesn't happen nearly often enough. That was a very deliberate effort on my part to get this thing to bounce. So what did I do wrong? The first thing is I came in from my landing too fast. When you come in too fast like that, it's going to have a lot more energy. So if you don't hit the ground perfectly, which also means the ground is flat, by the way, you're going to probably bounce. The second problem, of course, that we had is that after we did the initial bounce, rather than trying to assume an attitude which would bring the plane into a correct landing, we instead tried to push the plane back down onto the ground. Now, in the real world, of course, when you do the bounce, and trust me, you'll bounce a plane a few times. It happens to the professionals. It'll happen to you. One of the things that will happen, of course, is because we didn't slow down, because now we're porpoising badly, each bounce gets progressively worse, kind of like a trampoline. So let's go get ourselves all set up again and see if we can fix that. There we go. We're all set up. Let's go ahead and get everything ready to go here. So just like before, we're going to intentionally cause a bounce, which I feel so... I'm sorry, Mr. Blaine. I'm sorry. Forgive me. But what we're going to do is correct it correctly this time. And the key to correcting a bounce is, of course, most commonly what people will do is go around if they have enough speed. If it's a bounce as bad as the one you saw there, please go around. Don't try to land it. But in the event that you are going to be landing, and perhaps you got a little tiny bounce, the key there is maintaining the landing attitude and then using your power in order to control your descent rate after the initial bounce. So let's go ahead and line ourselves up with a big old number 2-4 here. This feels so wrong. I'm sorry. And what we're going to do is we're going to fly right down to the ground there. And of course, I'm assuming the right speed. We're just high and fast here. That looks pretty nasty. You've got about 5 degrees nose down attitude right now. Oh yeah, we're going to bounce hard here. We'll come over the runway, and we're going to bounce, but this time we're going to recover correctly. Oh, this is so bad. I'm sorry, Wheels. I'm sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold the nose up in our normal attitude, and we're just going to use the power in order to correct our descent. That was an amazing bounce. Man, that was a bounce. Just going to add just a little bit of power. Assume our regular attitude. And we're just going to come down just like that. Wow, that was a lot bouncier than I thought. I wonder if you could bounce something else. All right, so this one is actually a non-conventional landing gear. I just have nice big puffy Tundra tires for this purpose. So even though we are no longer in a tail-dragging aircraft, the procedure for recovery is going to be exactly the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here on my approach. I've got pretty good speed. I can see from my little display down there at the bottom that I'm pointing towards the runway. That's usually a pretty bad sign. So I've got about 70 knots. I'm pretty fast here, pretty fast. We're going to intentionally bounce this thing. So I'm going to let the nose drop. And all we're going to do is we're just going to hold the nose up and give it just a tap of power. It doesn't need much. Does not need much. You just got to let it settle. Just a little bit. And now we're better. Perfect. So as you can see, it doesn't matter which one. The key thing there is to remember a couple pieces. First, if you're going to bounce, if you're going to hit as hard as we did with the 170, you really got to go around. There's really no excuse unless you're on fire or something like that. Second, if you do have to land the bounce and you had something that dramatic, the key thing there is to use your power in order to control your descent rate while you keep your nose in the appropriate landing attitude. And then finally, try to avoid the bounce. Make sure you come in at an appropriate speed and an appropriate height, and don't let the nose drop. Remember, we've got the big squishy tires in the back. You have the little cheesy tire in the front. It's not going to be the one you're going to want to land on. Enjoy.